Hey there! So, today we're going to have a look at these two pens. These were lent to me by their creator, the gentleman who owns Additive pens. Here in Canada, interesting pens, acrylic machined caps and sections, and then a 3D printed barrel. And these 3D printed barrels are interesting. This is the double Helix, and it's very interesting because it actually fills with ink, that Helix. So it looks very cool. The other one is a ribbon model, and that also is very cool. So these are basically clear pens, and that greenish stuff you see, that's the ink. So very interesting. I'm going to cover the parts of these pens. I'll do a writing sample. I'll tell you what I like about it and what I don't like about it. Let's get helixing. Okay, so as I said, the Additive pens, partially 3D printed. They come in a simple box, and I have no issues with that. It is stamped Additive pens, which is kind of neat. Little protection for your pen. Then there is this card with cleaning instructions, which is kind of nice to include that. And the pens themselves come in these sort of, well, it's almost like a test tube. I rather like it. It's very simple packaging. It's a bit science-y, and given the double helix and such, that is not bad at all. Here we have the pens. Let me show you this in comparison to a TWSBI 580 for a bit of a size reference. So very long pens and rather skinny. They're about the same diameter as the TWSBI is, but they look skinnier, I think, because of the proportion, but I'll come back to that. So we have the double helix, quite cool, and then we have this ribbon, which I also quite like. Not bad at all. So let's look at the parts of the pen. The finial on top of the cap, that has the Additive pens logo, which is kind of nice. It's in there, a bit of relief, that looks nice. The cap, so the cap is machined, right? As is the section. You can see it's very nicely polished, it's very clear on the inside. And then we have that barrel, which you just fill with an eyedropper, right? So that's very, very simple. Cap unscrews. Back end of the barrel is rounded off. Top of the cap is flat top. And then we have a section, which is rather long. It's a long section, but if you have larger hands, that's actually quite comfortable. So I like that. We have threads here, not very sharp, so that's quite nice. These pens do not post, but to be honest, I don't think anyone really wants to post these because they are, let me zoom out a bit. Oops. They are massive that way, so I don't think anyone would want to do that. Whoops, sorry for the noise. Nib options, Jovo number 6 nibs. This is a medium nib, and on the other model is a 1.1 millimeter stub. So you can get different nib options, which is quite nice. So let's do a bit of writing. Now they are Jovo nibs, so you would expect them to write well. Let's see what we can do. This is the Additive pens double helix. This is the medium nib, and then you have the this is the Monteverde California teal. Nib is pretty smooth, simple steel Jovo nibs, nothing wrong with that. I like it. It's a comfortable writer. Pretty wet. Line variation, as always, very careful. You can squeeze out a little bit, but pretty stiff nib, and of course not advertised as being a flex nib either. Reverse writing, you can see the pen runs dry very quickly, so that doesn't really work. Now I don't really want to do a full writing sample with the other one, but just to give you an idea, This would be the 1.1mm nib. Always fun because this is a great way to introduce some calligraphic stuff into your handwriting. And 1.1mm is nice to do that with, because it is small enough that you can use it for everyday writing. It's not a 1.5, 1.9mm nib, but you can definitely do calligraphy stuff with it, which is nice. It's not super crisp, but it is crisp enough to give nice line variation. So that's nice. Now you've heard about the pen, you've seen it in action. Let's talk about what I like about it and what I not like about it. Okay. I don't know what that was about, but okay. What do I like, what do I not like about these additive pens? Well, there are a couple of things that I really like. The larger pens, which I enjoy. They have Jowo nibs, number 6 nibs, easy to take out, put other nibs in. Jowo nibs typically write well, in my experience, whether they're steel or gold, and these nibs are no exception. Out of the box, they're all great, no issues there. The packaging is kind of nice with that sort of test tube. I mean, it looks cool. It looks cool. I mean, you could put the pen, I mean, it's nice. Section is long and comfortable, which I also like. I find that a comfortable, it's long, but it's comfortable, it works well. And because the pen is long, you can actually see that cool pattern as you write with it. But there are a couple of things I don't like so much. Before I go into that, let me tell you the one thing that I like most about these pens. They're original. And to me, originality, doing something that other people do not do, is enough. So I really like that. This Helix pattern is cool. When I looked at the pen empty, I thought, yeah, nice, but then when I inked it up and I saw that the ink actually runs into that Helix, I thought that was pretty cool. Also, this kind of looks like a test tube, which kind of fits the science theme again. But now what do I not like so much? The pens are not cheap. They're $180. They're made in Canada, so I'm assuming that is 180 Canadian, but please don't quote me on that and check it for yourself. Not cheap. Right? Not cheap. But on the other hand, if you look at the market, you look at the vast amount of acrylic pens that are out there with Jowo nibs, all the stuff, 150 US, 160 US now. So I don't think it's exceptionally priced. And these are 3D printed, which may add a little bit to some people really enjoy that aspect of having a 3D printed pen. But it's not cheap, right? I think it's market conform, but it's not a $20 pen. And for the record, I'm also not saying that it should be. All I'm saying is, it's not a $20 pen. My biggest issue with the pens is not the price, but it's the way they look. I like the looks, I like the double helix, I like the ribbon, but it's the physical shape of the pen. To me, it looks a little disproportionate. It's very long, but ask anyone and they'll tell you they don't just want length, they also want girth. But, sorry, I find this pen a little disproportionate. Now I'm going to show you something else, okay? It's a large pen, but it's a skinny pen. Now look at this. Here you have a Delta Roma Imperiale. This is a very large pen too, but it looks like all the parts, the cap, the barrel, are in proportion. And to me, this pen is long, but it's a little too skinny. I think if it would even be 3 or 4 millimeters wider, it would look a little better. Now, I'm not making these pens, so I don't want to make things hard on the person making this, but it's a consideration. To me, it looks a little off. Especially because there's quite a step down from the cap to the barrel, and I find that a little much. So I think the proportion, maybe in a future incarnation of the pen, could be reconsidered a bit. Maybe make something that is a little girthier. Having said that, I repeat what I said before. These pens are original, and to me, that's enough. There are many people now making acrylic pens with jawbone nibs. That's cool. I appreciate that there are so many pen makers these days. But at the end of the day, they are acrylic pens with a jawbone nib. And the designs may vary a little bit, but they're all acrylic pens with a jawbone nib. And that's great, because there are so many creators of pens now that you can always find something that you like, a material you like or a model you like. I love that. I'm not commenting on that as a negative. But these pens are different. Because these pens have something to them that the other pens don't have. This double helix, I'll be fair, I find it downright cool. The ribbon does not do so much for me, but that's personal taste. It's nice too, but to me this is cooler. Bottom line, creative pens, and that's good. Okay, I hope this was useful, and I'm glad to see you later. Bye bye.